What is film? Film theory has been trying to answer this question for decades. There are so many ideas which try to capture the essence of the film experience. I propose that film has a very simple function at its core. Film is designed to make us feel. Happy or sad, bored or excited, apathetic or interested, angry, aroused, joyous, frustrated. The list of words which describe our emotional reactions to film goes on and on. Emotions are simply internal responses to external experiences. We experience emotion in the uncontrolled context of life all the time. But the cinema allows us more control over our experience than real life does. It offers a wider range of experiences than we can encounter in real life as well. Film gives us feeling and emotion on demand. This video will attempt to demonstrate how affect, or film's ability to induce feelings and emotions, is ever present in film theory, even in theories where we might not expect it. Jean-Louis Baudry's theory of film was certainly not interested in affect, at least not intentionally. He believed that we are held captive and taken advantage of by the cinema in how its practical construction plays on our psyche. Like Lacan's mirror stage, we find pleasure in the mastery of an ideal world that the cinema offers us. For Baudry, the camera work and editing gives us that mastery by always presenting us with an ideal view of the world. Our narcissistic desire for mastery is what the cinema apparatus plays on. However, I don't believe Baudry goes far enough in his understanding of mastery. After all, what is having an ideal view really about? Yes, it is about mastery, but mastery of what? It's about mastery of an experience. Film provides an ideal view so that the viewer might experience the maximum affect of the moment. To demonstrate this, let's look at an example from the 2013 film Fruitvale Station. The camera and editing do the work of putting us in the midst of the event. We experience an ideal view of the action. We see the looks on individual faces of the boys who are being detained. We see the faces of the cops. We see the reactions of the onlookers. Having an ideal view really causes us to feel the tension and the negative energy rising as the cops become aggressive. Baudry may not have seen it, but the cinema holds us captive because it causes us to feel. Sergei Eisenstein is the well-known pioneer of montage in film. He believed that the true power of film was in the editing of different clips together to create the idea of something which is otherwise undepictable. Like Baudry, Eisenstein was not interested in affect in film either. He was interested in presenting intellectual concepts through the combination of dissimilar images. For him, montage is the engine that powers the intellectual message of the film. But I argue that montage does more than just present an intellectual concept. It affects an emotional one as well. In Eisenstein's own film Battleship Potemkin, the montage carries an intellectual message for the Russian people to rise up against the tyrannical government. But the strength of the intellectual message lies in the emotional power of the scene. We see soldiers mercilessly slaughtering innocent and unarmed civilians, including children. The images pull at heartstrings as the viewer experiences the awful carnage of the scene through montage. Similarly, in this scene from Requiem for a Dream, the montage certainly presents the intellectual idea that drugs have been consumed. But in addition, it also affects the feeling of what the drug-taking experience is like. We actually feel the emotional change that the drugs induce in the character and get a sense of what he is experiencing. So here again, even though Eisenstein may not have intended it. His theory of montage is as much about affecting emotion in film as it is about intellectual response. Gilles Deleuze pays special attention to the face when it comes to affect in film. Deleuze thinks of faces as affects. It is the facial expression of the actor which is the affect that causes us to experience emotion. The close-up is the shot used to convey the affect of the face. Take a look at this scene from Scorsese's 2013 film, Wolf of Wall Street. In this scene, we feel emotion and energy through the use of close-ups on the characters' faces. The intensity of what they feel is shown in their facial expressions, and those expressions affect the same emotion in us.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving! The show goes on! This is my home! They're gonna need a fucking wrecking ball to take me out of here! They're gonna need to send in the National Guard or fucking SWAT team, cause I ain't going nowhere! Fuck them!
Whether we agree with DiCaprio's character or not, we feel the intensity of his rebellion and desire to stay. We feel the dejection and subsequent elation of his people. We get to experience the high of going for something no matter what the consequences. So here we see that faces are powerful emotion creators in film. They transfer the emotional experience of an event directly to the viewer. Deleuze clearly understands the affective power of film. Vivian Sobchak is concerned with film phenomenology. She is interested in synesthesia, a medical term describing the phenomenon of one sense perception being simultaneously translated to additional senses. For example, seeing a delicious meal on screen and being able to taste it in your mouth, or feeling pain in your own body at the sight of on-screen pain. Sobchak describes watching the opening scene of The Piano and being able to feel sensations in her fingers even before intellectually realizing that the images on screen were fingers. This effect leads to greater affect in film because we are experiencing the film in more than just a visual way. The full gamut of perceptions felt throughout our bodies is translated into internal feeling and emotion about what we have encountered. To demonstrate, let's take a look at a fight scene from Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. In this scene, what we see is translated throughout the whole body. Your heart pounds, you breathe hard, and your hands and arms feel as if they are joining in to help Obi-Wan's relentless lightsaber onslaught. Sobchak's idea of whole-body perception of film gives us a chance to experience a simulation of participation from the safety of our theater seat. The whole-body immersion into the experience helps us to really feel the intensity of the battle and sorrow and anger at the loss of Qui-Gon. Film takes advantage of synesthesia to help us feel the intensity of the film world to its fullest. So we've looked at a few of the greats from various disciplines of film theory and seen that although they come at film from some very different angles, affect can be demonstrated to have a relationship with each theory. Though many of these theorists had no interest in affect, we can clearly see how film cannot be separated from its ability to make people feel. Film is affect. In the end, perhaps film is yet another one of mankind's attempts to control his environment, to make sense out of events which are senseless, and to provide an on-demand avenue for experiences, feelings, and emotions. Whatever the case, one cannot deny the permeating presence of affect in film.